Okay, I'm back and I want to show you what happens when we let Excel create a histogram. Now, I told you earlier that there's room for artistic expression in how you do a histogram. Just because the book says do it this way doesn't mean there aren't other ways to do it. And in fact, Excel does it in a different way. And we could, as you'll see, Excel will come up with a different number of bins with different limits. You can do the same thing. You may say 5 isn't right. I want 6 bins, and I want my limits to be different because I think that's what's going to show the data and deliver the message that I want to deliver most effectively. So let's see what Excel does, and then we can see where the differences are. To create a histogram in Excel, you go to the Data tab, and I believe in Excel 2003, it's on the Tools menu. You click on the Data Analysis Tool Pack, and if this does not show up, it means it has to be installed, and you can see Appendix 1.1, which shows you how to do that installation. But anyway, you click on it, and it gives you a whole bunch of different things that you can analyses that you can do using this tool pack. Now we're going to do the histogram, so I say OK, and it brings up this window. First thing it wants to know is, what is the input range? Well, I'm going to select the data, thusly, just by clicking and dragging, and that tells it I want to analyze the data in that range. Now, one thing you have to be careful about is this little labels box here. If I were to have selected, for instance, histodata plus all of the data elements, now it's confused because this histodata isn't a data element, it's a word, set of words. So by clicking labels, it tells Excel to ignore that first cell and use the remainder as data elements. We're not going to do that. Let's just take the raw data as is, like this. Now, I got to be careful. I have to uncheck this box because if I don't, then Excel will treat the first cell as being a label. 17 becomes the label of the chart. We don't want that. So I'll unclick that. Next thing is, where do we want this data to go? Well, I can put it anywhere. I could put it in a new worksheet tab down here. Apply, they call it, a tab down here. Don't want to do that. I want it right here on this sheet so we can see it in one spot. So I clicked on Output Range, and in this window I'm going to select cell B22. It could be anywhere, but that's where I'd like it. That's all there is to it. Let's click OK and see what we get. Okay, we see now we do have different range. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bins, or classes as the textbook calls it. And the first class is up through, apparently including 17, because there's one of those. Then the next, look at these next limits, 22.8, 28.6, fractional amounts, even though our data come in whole numbers. And then what's with this more thing? There are 4 elements who are greater than 40.2, apparently. Well, that may be okay, and nothing wrong with it. It adds up to 28. Let's just check that. I'm going to go back here to the Home tab, click on the summation function. See how the sum neatly finds the data I want to add just for me. I don't even have to do anything. Hit enter. Yeah, there are 28 data elements. That's correct. But let's try this one more time. We'll go to Data, Data Analysis, Histogram. Okay. And let's use this bin range, which allows me to take control and say, Excel, I don't like your bins. I want to use my own. So now I select the data of the bins, 23, 29, 35, 41, 47, that I want it to use, and say I'm going to put it in a different spot so I don't overwrite the old one. Put it right here. And now let's see what we get. Well, that looks a little more like it. They're not quite the same as what we have here. 4, 2 are the same. Then we got 4 and 5, 14, and 4, 3. It'll still add to 28. Well, let's just double check that. Make sure. Yes, we still have 28 data elements, but look what it's doing. It's saying for this third bin, it's the maximum of this bin range starts at 29 and goes up to 35. But what it's doing, if we look at 29, it's this. through 35, that it's including the top end of the range in this bin, where in this case, when we did it by hand, we excluded 35 because that we were doing a less than analysis. Now, which is right, which is wrong? You know what? It doesn't matter. The key thing, as I keep pointing out, is that you have to be consistent, and you have to tell your reader, the viewer of the chart, what it is you're doing. So let's create a histogram for this data. I'm going to insert this column again, like so, and there it is. I'll put it, where can I put it? I'll put it over here right on top of the data. Yeah, I'll put it right over here. I'll scroll up a little bit. Okay, there it is. Now you can see, get rid of this crazy thing. You can see that the classes or bins are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that doesn't tell the viewer much of anything. I know that there are 4 of whatever class 1 is. But let me show you how you could actually label this axis. I'm going to right-click on this chart. You could go up here and find it on one of these menus. I just know how to right-click. And I'm going to select data. Now, what it tells me is that Series 1 is the data for the actual plot, which in this case you can see is highlighted with the marching ants, they call it, the little flashing marquee that goes around these data elements. That's Series 1. But I want to put in my own labels down here rather than just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I happen to have made some up already because it's kind of hard to type them in. Let's see, what am I going to do here? I'll bring them in so you can see them in just a minute. And I'm going to say OK. Oh, I'm not either. Let me bring them in where you can see them, and then I'll do it the other way. Here are my labels. I'll put them right here so you can see them. See, it says 17 less than or equal to 23. And that's what I'd like to have bin 1 be. And I'd like bin 2 to be 24, not including 23, 24 up to and including less than or equal to 29. So let's see how I can do this. Again, I'm going to right-click on the chart, select data. I'm going to edit the horizontal category axis labels. And it asks me what range do I want. And now I can select this range. Say OK. And OK again. And you can see now I have my labels in here. And whatever I put into these cells will show up as a label here. So if I can make it anything I want. Isn't this fun? Okay, that's it for this week. Have fun making a histogram. It's a little bit complicated to start, but it's worth getting your head around it because it's a useful skill for later on in the semester. Thanks a lot. We'll see you online.